All right. So good morning. I'm going to be walking you through a demo of Quick School Manager. Um, Now it's impossible to cover every single feature of the product. That would make the demo extremely lengthy. So the purpose of what I'm about to do is to work through some essential features and hopefully should answer questions around what the system is capable of doing. All right, I'll jump straight into it. So as a super administrator, Quick School Manager, you would have a dashboard similar to this, which would, at a glance, give you an indication of, the number of students, number of staff, number of classes, number of sections, etc. You'd have the plan that you're on and some other information there as well. Okay, so the first thing you would do as a new sign up to Quick School Manager would be to upload your school's logo and make sure that your school's information is up to date, website, your logo, etc. Because these items will feature on any documents produced by the system, such as student reports. All right, so let's jump straight into settings. The other thing that you can do is to upload a school stamp, which will again be on any official documents produced by the system. You would also configure your term. So what's the current session? What term are you in? The current term start date, closing date, and then you can also select when fees are due. For example, the next term is third term. You also have the start and end dates. And then you have here, you can set here how you would like attendance to be taken. So enable past student attendance taking means that your teachers, for example, can at the end of the term go back retrospectively and input attendance. The same thing with staff attendance as well. Now, if these two are toggled off, then what it means is that attendance must be taken on a daily basis. So when you open up the form to take attendance, it will display to you the current day only. You will not be able to go backward. You will not be able to, of course, go forward. All right, so midterm settings. So midterm report settings. So here you can configure your report settings. So you can put in your grading system and associate letter grades with a range of numbers and also have evaluation comments there as well. You can do the same also for end of term report settings. So you have settings for midterm and for end of term as well. Okay, so here, if I scroll down here, you also have behavioral aptitudes, and the system is capable of storing 15 of such attributes, and this list is completely customizable. So if you want to edit it, you can do so yourself. Now, Quick School Manager has 5 report templates. So you have, so template 1, I will just maybe click on this to enlarge it. Okay, so you have template 1. This has the subjects displayed vertically and the scores displayed in the table here. It also has a grading key so you can understand that. And then you have attendance. You have a section for attendance. And then you have the behavioral aptitudes there as well. So you can also have your school fees. You can also have school fees featured there on the reports cards. And then, you also have the date when the next term resumes and when the next term's fees are due. So if you remember, that had to do with the settings that we spoke about earlier. All right, so let's jump back. Template 2. So there's a second template. This has the subjects listed there, and then you've got the grades, and then you've got your sort of previous grades. So the system is capable of storing grades, historical grades for students. So you can have your previous grade, the teachers can set the target grades, and then you have your continuous assessment, your exams, and then your total. And if you want to display the positions per subject, you can also do that. And again, you have comments there, and then that's a summary of the sessional results across first term, second term, and third term. So this enables parents to see how their children and wards have performed over a period of time. All right, so coming down here, we have, again, those behavioral aptitudes there. We have them here as well as the information about the fees, next term start date, etc. Now, it's also worth noting that you have signatures there. So it's possible for the head teacher and class teachers and subject teachers to upload signatures, which are automatically appended to the results associated with them. So this is a very time-saving exercise. So you don't have to sign individual, results one at a time. Also, your school stamp will be appended on the report. Let's go to template 3. So template 3 is probably similar to template 2. It just has maybe some slight modifications to it. But again, here you've got the grading key, you've got the grades there, and then you've got the aptitudes, the behavioral aptitudes, and the same information there at the bottom. Template 4, again, similar to the others, but with template 4, you would notice that you have groupings for subjects. So this is the only template that permits you to do groupings for subjects. So for instance, here we have English studies. Under English studies, you can have English language, verbal reasoning, phonics, and library studies. Okay. Under arithmetic, you have math, quantitative reasoning. So you can group your subjects as you deem fit, and that's customizable. Again, the behavioral aptitudes and the same section there at the bottom. All right, so let's jump to the final. Template. So this is a very basic template, and most of the schools on QSM would use this for either their preschool or their nursery school section. So it's very simple and quite easy to understand. Nothing complicated here. Okay. Now, something that's worth mentioning is that you can use multiple templates simultaneously. So for example, some schools may decide to use maybe template 2 for their primary section, template 3 for their secondary section, and maybe template 5 for their nursery section. So it's entirely flexible in terms of which template that you can use for which section of your school. Okay. So let's go back to the top. So you have general report settings there. So these again are settings. So you can have a bank of teacher comments, okay? And the system allows you to put in up to 50. And what that means is that a teacher can just select a comment and have that applied to the report. Now, obviously, there are 2 benefits of this. One of them is time saving. The other is eliminating typographical and spelling mistakes from your reports. Okay. Assessment configurations. So if I say for this session, term 2, let me open this up and okay, class not found. Anyway, this is where I believe you'll be able to set things like what percentage should be assigned to exams, what percentage should be assigned to continuous assessment, what percentage should be assigned to homework as well. All right, so I think we're done with settings. I will jump into sections. So sections simply refer to, this is descriptive. So you can have your nursery, primary, junior secondary, and senior secondary. So those would be your sections. Your subjects, I think that's quite self-explanatory. So you can have all your subjects listed there. And again, you have subjects associated with different sections of your school. Okay, so classes, again, you can have as many classes as you want to have, as you want to set up on the system. What also happens with classes? So you've got this concept of a class level. So a level would, for example, if we're dealing with the Nigerian school system, let's say level would be SS3, for example. And then a class would be SS3A, SS3B, SS3C, for example. So you have the level, which is the entire year group, and then you have the class, which is a specific unit that has maybe 25 students, for example. Okay, so you can manage that. Again, you notice the names there, and then you can have photographs for each of the students as well. Now you can also have houses. So for instance, maybe for the purpose of inter-house sports, you want to have your different house names and assign students to the classes. So that's also possible with Quick School Manager. All right. So the other thing I forgot to mention earlier with regard to subjects is that you can assign. So for maybe like the primary school section, for example, you have one teacher that teaches maybe all the subjects. With secondary school students, you can assign, subjects rather, you can assign teachers to specific subjects. All right. So I'm jumping into student um, management. So you can key in details for a new student. So you can see this is quite a detailed form there. Not all the fields are compulsory, but you can fill that in with all the necessary details that you would require for a new student that is enrolling with your school. All right. Of course, you can view view current students. You can view a list of current students there. And also you can view a list of suspended students. So the system allows you to suspend a student, it allows you to revoke a student's admission, and it allows you to graduate a student. So when, for instance, your SS3 students are done, you can graduate them. Their records are still stored on the system, but they are archived. All right. Now, very importantly, you can also import your students. So for example, if you were coming onto Quick School Manager and you had, say, 300 or 500 students, there's no point filling in the new student form 500 times. That doesn't make sense. So you can import import the students. So here you can download a template that shows you how to structure the data of the students that you want to import. And then this also tells you what the different fields are, and it also tells you which ones are required or mandatory, and then which ones are optional. So once you have those arranged in the spreadsheet, you can then click here, select the file that you want to, that has the details in it, and then import that. And that will bring in your students, however many they are, whether 1,000 or whatever number that they are. This would bring them into the system. Okay, just give me a brief moment. Okay, all right. So yeah, so again, if you can also have outstanding imports. That's if you've started the import process and need to complete it. So that's there as well. Same thing applies to parents. So you have a form there where you can add parents' details. Again, you can also import parents using a similar approach to what we did with the students, which is arranging the data in a spreadsheet and clicking on the import, choosing the file, and then clicking on the import button to import them. You also have portals. So the system supports portals for students and portals for parents as well. So on the parent portal, for example, parents will be able to view the students' attendance. They'll be able to view the fees due. They'll also be able to view, I think, any homework that is available. Now, same thing with sponsors. So we've got the concept also of sponsors, and it's very similar to parents as well. Okay. All right. So for staff, same thing. You've got a form here where you can enter staff details. And then you can view the list of all your staff on your system. Class teachers, again, remember, like I said, you can see the class assigned to this teacher is JS1 A, so this could be maybe like a form tutor for that class. You've got subject teachers. So again, like I said, we don't have any assigned here, but let's say you had a chemistry teacher, for example, you could assign a specific teacher or a group of teachers to the subject chemistry. Again, we're able to import staff. So let's say you have 20, 30 staff in your school. We don't want to enter their records one at a time. So again, we can import them directly into the system. All right. And then, yeah, they also have a panel which they can log in and do things like, so for teachers, for example, they can set homework, they can set quizzes, and they can communicate with parents as well. All right. So here you can set up new administrators. You can set up new administrators for your school account. Attendance. Yep. So if we click here, we want to take attendance, say for the SS2C. So so this attendance applies to a student population of 8, and then we have this is second term, this is a session there. Now, what we can do to make this quick, let's say you have one student who is absent for today. So if I click on all present, and then I can select Emeka Okafo as absent. And if you notice, this attendance is being taken for the 30th of May, 2024, which is today. So like I had said earlier, depending on the settings that you configure for your system, you can go back in time to take attendance, to mark attendance retrospectively, or you can set it up such that attendance can only be taken on for the present day. All right, so you can mark attendance here. And of course, this is linked to the student report card. So this, the attendance taken over the entire term will be reflected on the students' report cards. Okay. So the same thing here with class attendance. So you cannot, sorry, with staff attendance. So you can also do the same thing. You can mark staff present or absent. And then you have access to archived attendance for previous terms. Okay. Now, so here we have e-learning, and here you can set lessons. So if I want to set a lesson for, say the class JSS1, so I come in here and I can add, so this, what we have here. So we have all the different subjects. We have all the different subjects. So I can select a subject, say creative arts, for example, and then I can add a topic and add some notes, and then I can, make this available online. Yeah, so this is, quite a detailed module on its own. I believe you can also add documents there, for example, rich media as well. Now the CBT are tests. So again, what we can do with the CBT is that you can conduct tests. You can actually set things like quizzes. So I can add one here and select. So that is the class it applies to. Title here. So maybe end of term exam, for example, put in some notes, and then save and view, and then I can add questions. I can add questions to this quiz, and I can actually even have the answers specified as well, so that the quiz is able to mark itself automatically. Okay, again, so same thing, homework. So you can set homework for a class, and then once the homework is set, it would then be available to the students via the student portal. All right, where are we? So, yep, so that's a CBT. Oh, sorry, that's the homework. Now, student reports. So this is very important. So this is where you would generate reports for your students. So let's say we go end of term report, and we want to do it for the SS2 class, for example. Sorry, just one moment. Student report, end of term report. Let's say, yeah, there's one. Okay, now here one thing that's very interesting about student reports is that we have what you call broadsheets. Okay, so you have a class broadsheet and you have a level broadsheet. Now, the class broadsheet is a summary of the results of all the students in that class, showing you the subjects, the grades, um, and how they ranked. Okay, how they ranked. So, for example, the day, who came first in the class in a certain subject, maybe who came first overall in the class. And then the level broadsheet, remember I talked about the concept of a level being, say like an SS3, for example, and then you have SS3A, SS3B, SS3C, etc., all forming part of the SS3 um, level. So we would look at the broadsheet and the class, the level broadsheet and the class broadsheet as well. So if I click on, okay, so let's look at this. So here you have, so this is an earlier produced report, which is pending approval by the head teacher. But it gives you the comments there. It tells you, so the head teacher, when the head teacher is approving, they would also be able to select comments and add those comments very easily. So this shows you the percentage, it shows you total score, and it also shows you, okay, how many students registered, etc. Now, so if I go into, say, the class broadsheet, so you can see here, it gives us a table summarizing all of the information for that class. So all the names of the children, of the students there, the subjects, and then the scores as well. If I scroll to the end, it tells me, for instance, who came first overall. So if you were interested in doing a prize giving ceremony, for example, you'll be able to access that information very easily. Okay, so if I go back to, yeah, so if I click on the level broadsheet, so the level broadsheet is very similar to the class broadsheet, but imagine that for the level broadsheet, instead of having just one class of, say, 25, you would have 5 classes of, say, 25 students each. So I think maybe that would be 125 students listed in the broadsheet. So if you wanted to find out who is the best performing student, for JS3, for example, you'd easily be able to tell that from the class broadsheet. Okay, let me move to something different. And then, yes, in terms of distribution of the reports, so the reports can be produced for an entire class as a single PDF document that can then be printed out one page at a time, and given physically to parents. Also, the reports can be circulated electronically by email to parents as well. And it can also be accessible via the parent portal. So parents can also download it from the portal. So this is the broadsheet, the level broadsheet. But because we only have one class, actually, so it's exactly the same thing as a class broadsheet. But if, for example, we had 5 arms of this class, then you would have each with 25 students, and would have 125 students listed here. And then again, down here, you've got some analytics here that just give you an idea of the percentage of students who scored A's, B's, or C's, etc. And then we can also do like a subject analysis also. So that's very useful information. Okay. Right. Okay, so we move to, so the result checker. What this is simply is that you can create pin numbers, which can then be shared with parents to access the parent portal. So this is if you wanted to, for example, maybe you wanted to put a fee, you wanted to charge a fee to parents to be able to access the portals, then pin numbers can be generated, and then as parents pay, you give them the pins, and then they're able to use that to access the parent portal, where they can see student results, they can see school fees, and they can also monitor attendance, etc. Okay, so a library module. So here you can keep an inventory of the books that you have within your library, and who has what books at each point in time. Timetabling, yeah, similar. So you can create timetables for classes and around lessons, as well as around exams and tests. Now fees. So I'll jump in here and show you, for example. So you can build a category. You can have a list of categories of fees. For example, you have your tuition, you have your PTA, you have your sports. Let's say you also wanted something called maybe a development levy. Okay, so you can add that there. That's been added. Okay, so you have you have a levy there. Now, each of these categories, some may apply to nursery, some may apply to secondary, some may apply to primary. It's possible um, to associate them with different sections of your school. Okay. Okay, so new class fees there. So this is where you would select a class, say this junior secondary 1A, and you'd be able to say, okay, their tuition fees is 120,000, PTA is 10,000, sports is 5,000, development levy is whatever it is. All right. Now, what you can also do is you can manage fees per class. So you can, where are we? Okay, so new class fees. Hold on. Okay, so let's see collect fees. So if we go to junior secondary 1A, we click on that. So this tells us that there are 25 students in the class. We've received full payment from nobody. We've received partial payment from nobody. And we have 25 of them. Based on the fees configured for this class, we expect that we should collect 1.2 million, and the amount collected so far is 150,000. That seems a little bit confusing, but bear with me. So let's say this child here, we approve full payment. Okay, so let's say we approve full payment. And how much has been paid? So that would be, I think, 150. Amount payable 0. Not sure why that's the case, but anyway, you would be able to. So, for example, if there's a reference number for the payment that you made, you'll be able to put that in there, and then you'll be able to also select the date on which the payment was made. Okay. No feed data found for this class. Okay, I think feed data has not been configured for this class, so that's the reason why that's not showing up. That's not showing up, but yeah, but anyway, this module enables you to manage your fees very effectively using the system. All right. Something here I'll just demo very quickly is requisitions. So when a purchase needs to be made within school, so you could put in a request, for example, say for internet subscription. So this gives you a workflow where whatever is submitted here, you put in the amount, you put in the category for what you want. So no category has been created, but so here you can have communications, for example, and we have um, what else? Maybe stationery. Okay, so we can create these. Yeah, so we have this here. So if I go back to initiate response here, so they should be available to me there. So I can then put in the name. So if this money is supposed to be paid to me, for example, as a staff, when the staff is set up, you can also automatically put in the account details. So those will show up here, the bank and account details. If there is, say, for example, an invoice that needs to be attached to this requisition, you can upload that invoice. Again, this can be your supplier, your vendor details. So you'll be able to, add vendor details there as well. And then you submit that and it goes to the approver who will then approve it. And then here you can keep track of exactly how much is being spent, how many requisitions are made. So this is second term, how many are pending, how many are approved, how many were declined, total amount of money raised, total approved. And then this is for all time since 2024. And this is for the entire session. So this just helps you keep track of what's been spent. So you have pending, approved, declined request, and expense categories. Yeah, like I said, this is customizable. You can put in whatever categories that you desire to put in. Okay, reporting and documentation. So staff reports, see here. So if you wanted, so for example, if you wanted staff to submit reports on a periodic basis, you can also, configure that there as well. Documents. So again, you can upload documents there and, have those documents associated with student accounts or staff accounts, for example. Something else that you can do is to report incidents. Okay, so for example, I think against the student record, you can report an incident. So if, for example, a child suffered an injury during school time, during playtime, you can record that against the student's account, and that would show up here. Okay, so there are other things there which I'll just run through very quickly without necessarily clicking. So SMS alerts. So it's possible for you to to request SMS units, and we'll give you an invoice telling you how much it will cost you to buy a bundle of units. And the system can then send out things like announcements to your parents, announcements to your staff, announcements to your teachers, etc. Email alerts. So again, it's possible to send out emails to parents, to staff, and to students as well. School publications, so you can create news and publish newsletters. You can also create and publish event calendars, and these will all be displayed on the student and parent portals as well. So your term dates, yep, so you can also set your term dates here as well. Again, you can create announcements. General announcements will go to all stakeholders. You can have announcements only for staff. Same thing with news. You can create news, and this would show up on the parents and students portals as well. Same thing with newsletters. And then the event calendar, like we said, you can create an event calendar that has maybe when the term ends, when the continuous assessment starts, etc. And that's viewable through the portals also. So this would be a link to your portal, and it gives you the ability here to add a signature, for example, for for yourself. So this is a run through the features of Quick School Manager. I've had to try and do this as quickly. I've tried to do this in a way that is quite brief, so as not to bore you, make it too long. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach us on info@qschoolmanager.com. That's info@qschoolmanager.com. I will be happy to help you. And just to mention that if you decided to come on board with Quick School Manager, rest assured that we would work with you throughout the entire process of onboarding. All right. So we would make sure that that we handhold you and make sure that you're able to import your students, you're able to get through the entire onboarding process as smoothly as possible. And we'll support you. We set up groups, WhatsApp groups for our schools, which have support representative in those groups, so that if users have any issues whatsoever, they can contact us via the WhatsApp groups. Thanks very much, and I hope you found this useful.